All right, let's do this. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome one and all to Build. How are we feeling today? You guys doing all right? You feeling well? You feeling okay over here? You good? Yeah? Front row? Having a great day? Yeah? Wonderful. How about this side? You doing all right? People at the cocktail table, how you doing? No, that was perfect. That's all I was looking for. Guys, welcome. Thank you so much for being here and joining us at Build. If this is your first one, welcome, welcome. This is our brand new home. We're coming at you live from our studio on 692 Broadway. We've done a bunch of these today, but we've got a great one coming up right now. In just a few short seconds, joining us on stage from Grey's Anatomy, the great Jessica Capshaw is here. Oh, my goodness. Yes, you're correct. Impressive. I can't quite hit that pitch, but that's how I feel. That's perfect. Thank you for that. So she'll be out here in just a moment, leading the conversation. Your moderator for this one, dear friend of the show. She's done 1,000,001 for us, and I'm excited that she's back. From Huffington Post Entertainment, Lee Blickley is here. She's a huge fan, and she's wonderful. Make some noise for Lee. Yes, perfect. You nailed it. You guys are doing great so far. You're pros at this. So they'll be out here in a moment. They'll talk for a little. That's what happens. That's what this stage was built for. And then we'll do some audience Q&A. So you guys think of some great questions. I'm sure you got them. Oh, I saw that. Y'all looked at each other. That was like a rehearsed move. Okay, so we'll have some questions from you and then the rest of the audience as well. So we'll take those. Hey, for those tuning in live out there on AOL.com, all over the globe, wherever you may be, through the app, I don't care how you're watching. I'm just glad you are. Guess what? You can ask a question as well. You can tweet at us at BuildSeriesNYC. Or if you have a really long-winded question, you can press the button that says submit a question on it, send it through. We'll read a bunch of them. We'll pick one. We'll read it live on the air, say your name. It'll be a big party, all right? So give it a go. Let's see what happens. I've got a clip from the show that we're going to watch together as a group, and then we'll get her out here and we'll make this thing happen. But before we go any further, the door is slightly open. Some would even say it's ajar. So I'm going to ask you, I'm one of those people, it's ajar. I'm going to ask you one more time, and she can hear you. Y'all excited that Jessica's with us? Let's let her know. Come on. Yes. That's how that's done. Thank you so much for being professionals. Let's go ahead and run that clip.
I don't bite. I mean, I have, but can't right now.
Okay. We're all set. Okay, Mama, you ready to take a look at this baby?
Does she always talk like that?
Yep. Like what?
Like unicorns and rainbows are about to shoot out of your ass.
Okay. All right, let's turn.
Hey!
No sudden moves. That wasn't a sudden move.
You can't just put hands on me like that. How about a little heads up?
All right, guys, it is that time. Put your hands together, make some noise, and join me in welcoming your host and moderator from Huffington Post Entertainment, Lee Blickley, and today's guest, the great Jessica Capshaw.
Hello, everybody. That was like the best walkout music, by the way, the Grey's Anatomy theme song. Just a theme to my life. I'm a huge fan of Grey's Anatomy, as I'm sure everyone here is, correct? I've been dedicated to watching every season, all 13, well, 12 and a half at this point. So tell me how it feels to be a part of a show that is now on 13 seasons.
Well, I've only been on for 7.5. I know what it's like to have been a huge fan of the show, so obviously if you showed up, I think that you might be. And I remember very distinctly just loving the show. I loved the music, I loved the tone, I loved the characters, I loved the way that they told the story. I never wanted it to end. I was so bummed at the end of every episode. And so I remember that very distinctly. And then I was lucky enough to audition for the show, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And it was lucky number 3 that landed me in a, actually it wasn't even an audition. I had auditioned twice and not gotten it. And Shonda wrote a part for me that was meant to be 3 episodes, and it turned into obviously more. And so coming into a show that I was such a huge fan of was probably a different experience than a lot of other actors on the show might have had. I felt really grateful. I felt super lucky. I've always tried to work really hard and not take it for granted, and show up as much as I could. So I think it's recently that I really feel, I'm not sure if it's Netflix or Hulu or all the different platforms in which people watch the show, but I feel like there's been this regeneration of people starting the show from the beginning again. And so I sort of feel, again, really lucky to have people who watch it that don't just happen to turn on the TV and there it is, but really make an appointment to watch it and see every single episode. And so I think that the really long answer to your story is it feels really great to be on a show that's been on for 13 seasons.
Well, and it's one of those shows that you have the option of binge watching the previous seasons on Netflix, as I'm sure some of you guys do. But then you still have the old-fashioned TV way, which is waiting week for week for a new episode to come out.
Right.
With all these streaming services and things like that, what's the benefit of having a show like Grey's Anatomy where fans have to wait to get that next episode? And do you think that's kind of a dying? I hate that, because now all you Gen Zers, you're spoiled. You get to see all the episodes at once.
Well, wait, go back to the question, because I had an answer to the question. And then something came up about Gen Zers. But what was the question? You said
it was how you could stream half of Grey's Anatomy or more than half of Grey's Anatomy on Netflix, but then their new season is still, you have to come back week after week. And what's the benefit for having a show like that?
I think that having to wait for the next week, I am a fan of certain shows, and I will, ones that aren't, all given up and on demand. And I find that it adds sort of the same brand of anticipation that you have with a new person, boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever it is. And it's exciting on some level, and you sort of don't like it, but you sort of love it. And so I think that there's something kind of great about it still being something that you have to wait for, and that you can talk to your friends about, not knowing what the answer is going to be, and sort of say, like, I wonder what's going to happen. Is Alex really going to go to prison? Is that going to happen? And you can genuinely, ponder it, and it can be sort of exciting and titillating, and that's, I think, something that only gives birth to, again, coming up with ideas on your own or hoping for things and then either being disappointed or being fulfilled, whatever it is.
Is Alex going to go to prison?
I don't know. Is he going to go to prison?
What are your, in the show, Arizona and Karev have a great relationship.
Yeah.
What has been your take on the storyline with Karev? And has it been hard? Not really. You guys don't really work together as much on the show.
I know.
He's gonna go to prison?
Because he might go to prison. Such a naughty boy. What was the question? You just keep throwing
You miss
me off.
working with Justin Chambers a lot?
Well, I still get to see him all the time. So even though we're not shooting scenes together, I still get to see him. But to answer your question, I do actually, because this season we haven't much. And I love working with Justin. And he was one of the first people that I worked with. I worked with him and I worked with Chandra. And I adore them both. And so I have the greatest time. He is probably the most... just one of the most generous actors. I mean, whether he's acting with someone who's been there from day one or someone who's been there from season 5, or whether it's a guest actor that just showed up that day, he is absolutely the guy that at the end of the last take will say, that was incredible. Like, what a great job. He's taught me a lot, I have to say. I think that sometimes that generosity is something that we don't happen to naturally, and he does, and he has taught me that because when he does it, it feels so good. It feels so nice when people in your world tell you that you've done a good job or that you nailed it, whatever. And so when you do, I find that in my own life I really try to think about that and say that as well.
Yeah, I feel like the cast is like a family. You guys are very supportive of each other. What's it like being a part of this cast? It's a big ensemble, and you get to work with many different actors on the show.
Yeah.
Give us some info about the cast. Who do you all love you guys so much?
I'm giving it up today. What do you guys want to know? Well, I mean, literally, what do you want to know? I'll tell you anything. Go ahead.
Guys, what do you want to know? Well, I want to know, tell us about Ellen Pompeo, because she's been on the show since the beginning, and we love her.
She's the best. She's just, and she'll tell you like it is. She's no doubt about it, direct and upfront, and she's got the biggest heart, and she'll do anything for you. Like, once you're her person, you're her person. And she'll go to the mat for you, and she'll piss you off. And she'll make you really happy, and she's just, she's magic in that way. And I think that it's not surprising to me at all that she has been able to be the face of the show for as long as she has, and have people really invest in her.
And what's it like to be on a show where a lot of characters come and go?
You were going to say die.
Die.
You were going to say die.
I don't want to spoil all 12 seasons, but...
I was with Mario Batali this morning, and he brought it up. He was like, everyone dies. Do you worry about dying? I'm like, no. I've already lost a leg. If I'm going to go, I don't think I'm going to die. I think I'm just exit gracefully. 13 years is a really long time. Think about where you were 13 years ago. It was a long time ago. And so I think that everybody's thirst is different. You have an idea that you want to stay somewhere for a little bit, then maybe a longer time. It's just really person dependent. And sometimes it's story dependent. Sometimes the story just has to go a certain way. So I think that it's sort of gotten to go through a lot of different iterations. Someone brought up, who's like a hardcore Grace fan? Do you remember the beginning titles where they pulled out like it wasn't a body bag. It was like a table with a sheet on it, and there was yeah.
The red shoes on the... Yeah.
Think about that in your head. That's a long time ago. So
now that doesn't even air, right? It just goes
no. And you take for granted that the new car, I think it's called title cards. They are what they are. So, anyways, my point is that everything has gone through different iterations, and the music that's come on the show and defined a certain period in the show. How to Save a Life. That takes you hear that song and it takes you straight to where you were when you're watching that thing, and so my point is it's a really long time. So for people to, hang in there or exit gracefully or exit abruptly is sort of, I think par for the course.
Yeah. But you have amazing newcomers come in too, as well.
Yes,
so there you go.
And that's the thing.
So let's kind of talk about Arizona's journey without Callie, who was one of the people who left. She didn't die though, so that's good. She can always come back.
She lives somewhere in Shondaland. We just don't know where.
Tell us about Arizona's journey without Callie. Sharing custody of Sophia, and how that has kind of informed your character arc this season.
Well, I think it is actually what I just said, which is that she's somewhere. She did not go away. She went away, but she didn't fall off the face of the Shondaland map. And I think that the end of the last season sort of showed the last part of their particular story, which was about Sophia, and then about the negotiation, and then about the coming together again, of understanding that that they were going to co-parent. And so, listen, it really helped me because it was a really long period of time to be to be playing one half of a partnership, and it was so. It was so championed and so well embraced and so beloved, and I felt so grateful for that. And we had so much fun doing it, from dancing our hearts out to car crashes and plane crashes. But we had a lot of fun, and so for it to sort of end where it ended, it feels so much nicer to me to know that Callie is somewhere in the world and Arizona still exists, and she sort of has permission to go find her own happiness because Callie's not there. I think it would be harder to really sort of move on if, it would have just been a different story, which would have been super fun too, but it's a nice, it's comforting to me to know that love is not lost. It's just Callie's somewhere else. And now Arizona's moving on and trying to find her happiness.
Yeah. And now she has the freedom to explore, shall we say, new loves.
What did you mean by explore? You put something behind that.
There's a little flicker, a little flame between you and sort of the villain of the season. Am I right? You can't mess with Weber,
Not a
but
villain. Yeah, see? Yes, I agree.
to me,
Wow, love. You should just got. I love her.
to me, guys, Weber's my man. Don't come and mess with his ways,
He's
you know?
so solid. That Jim Weber. No, Jim Pickens, Chief Weber.
That must be tricky.
Put them together. Arizona Capshaw.
So let's talk about Eliza Minnick, who is she going to
Yes.
be your? I mean, I'm assuming
My
she's
person?
going to be your new person. Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, here's the great news. She's awesome as a person, as an actress, and as a character. And I think that when you're at the beginning of something, you get to figure it out. You know, I don't think you know right away. Again, harken back to I was there for 3 episodes. It went well. So I got to stay for longer. But, you know, Marika's really fun and a great actress and brings an incredible quality to the show. And I think that Eliza and Arizona have a really interesting thing to watch, I hope. And we'll see.
Yeah. Anyone want to see Hillary Burton back? Because I do, Silas.
Oh, Hillary Burton. I know. No. Is it because it was an affair? Because she cheated. It was dirty. Yeah, see? I get
So
it.
unlike
I'm with you.
Arizona.
I'm with you. I get it. No cheaters.
It's so good.
I'm not going to champion a cheater. She was after Arizona, though, truly.
She really was.
I mean, she was.
You know what? She went after for what she wanted.
She did.
She won, sadly.
She did. But it's funny because she is in real life. I don't think they're married, but they have a baby with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And then Marika is married in real life to Scott Foley.
Yeah.
Do you see a trend here?
Yeah.
Arizona gets it done.
She really does.
She finds out where all the cute girls are. Gets it done.
Let's sort of talk about
Cute wives.
going back to Weber and Bailey and the sort of tension in the hospital right now with bringing in new techniques and new ways of teaching and being a teaching hospital. What's your take on that, as an actress playing Arizona, but as Arizona herself?
I think it's such a great storytelling device, right? Because isn't that what we're all faced with on some level, is the idea that we do our jobs, but we could do them differently. We probably could do them better or worse. But the idea that there's always someone who could come in and sort of upset the apple cart and sort of show you how to do things better is always sort of looming and out there. So I think it's really interesting that Eliza's come in to sort of say, are you sure you know what you're doing? And for there to be a little insecurity, because no one on the show is trying to, create the idea that we have this incredibly tidy world. Life is messy. There's mistakes and people do bad things all the time. They cheat. And you kind of have to figure it out from there. And so I really like the idea that she's come in with this sort of challenge, and there's this obstacle of Arizona not wanting to like her because of what she represents, but at the same time sort of being intrigued by her and excited.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit of not tension, but, Maggie and Gray are after the same guy, or they're interested in the same guy.
Yeah.
What do you think's going on there? Will we see Gray get her happy ending, though, her new love? Because, we all miss McDreamy, but we know he can't come back. So
Right.
That's unfortunate.
Right. That's true. He died. I mean, but then again, they die and they come back sometimes. So
Yeah, they do.
Good. But yes, I cannot imagine. Listen, there is something so magical about sitting in our table reads or our cast meetings or anything that has to do with Shonda, because when you sit there and you really listen to her talk about this show, she loves it so much. It is the beginning for her in so many different ways. And every time she talks about Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder, there's that deep love, but there is something so special about Grace and the kind of magic that she's created and the story she's created. And Meredith Grey is at the epicenter of that. So I can't conceive of a world where Meredith Grey does not get a happy ending. How that happens or what the timing will be, I have no idea. I'm not sure you could do much worse to her.
No.
But I think that there will be. I definitely do.
And, we all hope that Grey's will beat the ER standard and go past season 15, right, everybody?
It's crazy.
I could see it going forever and ever and ever. There's so many medical mysteries to uncover.
It's true, but like, how old will we be?
What do you see as like the future?
I was walking around. I don't know. That's up to Shonda. But I was walking around today, and I had a little break in between stuff, and I was walking, and it's a very funny thing because we're on a show where television is different. I mean, and sometimes I know we're on laptops and everything else, but we're in your home. Mm-hmm. And so you're used to seeing us there, and there's something that feels familiar about that. And so when I walk around my life as Jessica Capshaw, oftentimes someone will catch my eye or something, and they'll kind of go like, and I sort of didn't know what to do with that at the beginning. I would get sort of embarrassed and be like, no, and then I would sort of figure out how to lean into that and say like, no, yeah, hi, and then that sort of felt presumptuous to me. Anyways, my point is, I was today walking around. This woman looked at me and she was like, and I said, yeah, it's me. And she said, Cameron Diaz. Meanwhile, a huge compliment. I was like, I'll take it, but no. So and then it was bizarre because I was in a store and she worked in the store, and then she sort of went away, and then I went to go check out, and I had to give my name, and I said Jessica, and she goes, Capshaw. And I was like, yes. And she goes, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. To which you should not, just don't say it. If you're about to say, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, don't say it. But it wasn't that bad. She goes, you look so much younger in person. So to the older effect, I was like, how old can we possibly get on Grey's Anatomy? I don't know. I mean, I guess we just keep going.
Yeah, but hey, nothing like getting compared to Cameron Diaz.
I know. I should
nice.
have ended with that.
That's pretty sweet.
It's true. I mean, yeah.
You are glowing, and you have been pregnant a lot on the show.
I have been pregnant quite a bit.
Have you?
It was actually more challenging to find the time that I wasn't pregnant.
Mm-hmm. And you've had to kind of hide. You know how Kerry Washington has to hide her baby bump on the set of Scandal.
Yes.
You've had to do that as well.
Yes, I have. Yes, I
learned all the
have.
tricks.
It's been challenging as technology has advanced, because we started with, I would be able to hold these huge charts that had X-rays in them, or folders or paperwork or whatever, and then as technology's advanced, we've gotten smaller and smaller tablets and phones and whatever. And so now they just have to put me behind a counter, just completely hide me.
Yeah. Well, we might see that now because Camilla just announced that she is pregnant. Yay.
Yes.
Will Joe be pregnant on the show?
I don't think so.
That would be very scandalous.
With her father in prison.
Yes.
No, he's not going to prison. Well, he could
my
be. I
goodness.
don't know. Alex going to prison.
Ooh.
Yes, she is. She's pregnant, and she's a dear friend of mine, and I love her so much, and she's such a just light beam of energy and excitement, and truly hysterical. She makes me laugh very, very hard. And because I've been pregnant so many times, she asks me a lot of things. So I'm able to help. Well, I hope help and talk to her about this, that, and the other, and then share pregnancy clothes. But pretty much every time I see her these days, she's like, "Your jeans. I'm wearing your jeans. I'm wearing your jeans."
You're like, yes.
Yeah.
Well, we saw Katerina was pregnant too.
Yeah.
But she wasn't pregnant on the show. And now I have to ask you what's happening with Amelia and Owen, because I'm so sad.
You are.
I just want them to be happy.
Why are you? Did that sound weird?
I'm a real.
No, I mean, why? Well, only because I sometimes, too, I'm like, wait, didn't they just get married?
Yeah.
Why are they having so many problems? They just got married. I don't know. I'm with you. I don't know. What's going to happen?
Well, it's that weird thing, too.
Because they're so cute.
Yeah, knowing she's pregnant in real life, but she doesn't want a baby on the show, it really messes with my emotions.
Acting.
Yeah.
It's all acting.
You guys are really good actors.
I know, see? Thanks.
That's probably why Grey's Anatomy is still like #1 trending on Twitter on Thursday nights.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah. Thank you for making a trend on Twitter.
So let's talk about, so you're coming back next week, next Thursday. What can we expect from this episode? I know in that clip, you're going to be in a prison.
You heard the
perhaps?
ominous music. You had a
Yes.
feeling something dirty was going to go down.
Yeah.
It's actually very cool. We did the table read for the show, and we knew that it was going to be sort of outside of our normal wheelhouse because it was going to be in a prison, and most of our shows usually at the hospital, and so, or our hospital. And it's Camilla and Chandra and I, and we go on a little field trip. And we don't really know what to expect, but we did the table read. And I think that we kind of had the feeling that something unsavory might happen. And so the entire table read, we were just like so expectant. It was like, it felt like we were in a fun house, and every time you went around the corner, there was something was going to pop out at you. But it's a very cool episode. It was a lot of fun to shoot, and it's a lot of us. I mean, I think there's probably like 3 scenes in the whole show that I'm not in. It was a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's clearly one of the more dramatic Grey's episodes, or is there a little humor?
Except for
in
her
it,
telling me that rainbows and unicorns were about to fly out of my ass. That's pretty much, that was as funny as it gets in that show, I think.
And who else is featured in this upcoming episode?
We have some really lovely guest actors, and of the series regulars, I think it's Jim Biggins, Chief, and Bailey and Joe and Arizona.
And no Karev? Will we have to wait to find out what happens to Karev?
I don't know. We shot it a while ago.
I was thinking prisons with prisons, matching the storylines.
It's a women's prison. It's a women's prison.
That's true. What's it like being a part of Shondaland? It must be really cool because Thursday nights have just become this thing where all of us get together and watch all 3 of our favorite shows.
That's so great.
And tweet about it. I love how I'm looking at my girls in the front row. You guys,
it
must be cool to be a part of Shondaland.
It's the coolest. Yeah. There's nothing better. I mean, not to go too far back, but when I first thought of what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I realized that I love to tell stories, and what kind of career could telling stories turn into, and then I found my way to acting. The brass ring is being able to do it all the time with wonderful words in your mouth that someone else has gone through the painstaking task of coming up with, and then be able to have it beautifully manicured and edited and produced, and then put out in a way that it's available to all of you, and then for all the people to feel the way about it that they do. It's a dream. It's a total dream. There's not one person that I think could say otherwise. It doesn't mean that it's not life, and again, it doesn't mean that it's not messy and that there's ups and downs to it, but it's as near perfect as it gets if this is the kind of life that you want. And I do. So it worked out well.
Yeah. I'm so jealous. I want to be on Grey's Anatomy. One day.
It's very sweet. The guest actors come, and I mean, it's when they don't know if they're going to stay for a little bit or a lot. I see their faces, and I know exactly what it felt like to be there and just want to stay. Cool. Yeah, it's really great. It's really great.
Well, I do want to open it up to some audience Q&A.
Yes.
So who's first? Oh, here we go.
Hey, Jessica.
Hi.
What is the coolest thing about playing a doctor on TV?
Coolest thing about playing a doctor on TV? You didn't have to go to medical school.
That is pretty cool.
That's the coolest thing. And that you sort of, I think, again, you get to garner the same sort of, a bit of the same sort of respect in your normal life. I went to go pick up my son from school because the nurse called and said, Luke's sick and you need to come pick him up. And I went there, and I walked in the door, and she looked up at me and she was like, oh, that makes sense. What do you mean that makes sense? Like, what makes sense about that? And she said, no. He said his mom was a doctor. He was only 5. And he knew I was a pretend doctor, but he just didn't say the pretend part.
Do you ever feel like you're like a real doctor sometimes and you have to go, oh, wait, I have to...
No, never, because the sight of blood, real blood, truly makes me want to vomit.
All that fake blood on set is good.
That doesn't bother me.
Let's take our next question from Twitter. So Josephine would like to know, what's the first thing you do when you arrive on set?
What's the first thing I do? Usually you pee. I usually go to the bathroom. I usually get there, I take my bag to my trailer, and I use the restroom, and then I go get my hair and makeup done.
Perfect. Who's next?
Hi.
Hi.
So my name's Tajay.
Hi.
And my question is, we know that Arizona gives like amazing speeches all the time. Which one has been your favorite?
Ooh, I've got two. I mean, there's always Good Man in a Storm. Mm-hmm. But I also love the airplane Rainbows and Crap with Karev, where she talks about I don't know if it's aired yet, but there is a monologue that's sort of similar where she talks about what I think probably everyone wonders about doctors who work with children. It's like, how do you keep going? And how do you, when you lose a patient, how do you keep going? And so I love that she talks about that honestly and says, it's not me being insensitive. It's me looking forward to what I need to do next and who I need to help next. So I think that that's sort of, I like that about her.
And now recite one of them for us. No, I'm just kidding.
I probably could, if you gave me a minute.
No, don't do
Start me off. How does it start?
Most people think I was named after the
Most
state.
people think I was named after a state, but I wasn't. I was named after the USS. Yeah, no. God, I'm trying to think.
Most people think I was named after the state, but that isn't true. I was named after the battleship, the USS Arizona.
Yeah, the grandpa.
This is a very
Yeah, but when I
touching
went
moment.
to my father, Colonel, blah, 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 and I told him I was gay. Yeah. No, it's all. It would be okay, fine. I guess I'd have to look at it for a second.
Man, like 8 years of lines, and you still remember that. That's pretty impressive.
My question is, what's been the most heartbreaking storyline you've ever had to do?
Most heartbreaking storyline, I think it was early. It was season 6 or 7. Now I'm forgetting his name. Oh man. When Arizona, it was the birthday episode and she had the surprise party and she lost the little boy. And then Wallace, thank you, Wallace. Oh, he was so sweet, Wallace. Bad dreams go away. Good dreams here to stay. So sad. I know, it was the worst. Yeah, no, I loved that. That was a heartbreaking episode. I'm glad that we don't have to show losing. That was sad. Super sad. Oh, thanks a lot.
We have time for one more. Here we go.
Hi. Besides Kelly and Arizona, who is your favorite couple on the show?
Ooh, my favorite
There's
couple.
been so many.
I know. They really have. Huh. Ooh. Wait, throw some out there. You got to remind me of them. Who? J-April. You love J-April?
Oh,
yeah. That's a good one. Joe Lex. I love Joe Lex. I like them all. Those are all great couples. Everyone just said all the good ones. Well, you want to go old school. It's like, Izzy and Denny. Yeah. That was so romantic and sad.
Oh, you're bringing us back to that sadness.
I know. And I think, listen, I'm never gonna throw shade to Meredith and Derek. That was just one of the most, I remember saying this to Shonda at some point. I was like, you're so genius. Like, how did you do that? You created the most perfect circumstance for you for audiences to fall in love with a couple and then make it so hard for them to be together, which is what you always, like watching. I think ultimately it's more interesting to watch someone try not to fall in love than to actually fall in love, or try not to cry than to actually weep. I think that that's where we're all defined, because we understand what it's like. So Meredith and Derek were great.
So to wrap us up, what can we expect from the rest of the season? And are there any crazy twists that are going to shock the fans?
Well, those usually come towards the second part, so we haven't read those scripts yet. But I can tell. Listen, I always say it. I say it all the time. But it's all about the drama. It's all about the thrills. You got to be excited. You got to be, you got to not know what's going to happen, and then things change and pivot and work themselves around. And so, yeah, it's the roller coaster. It's the Shondaland roller coaster, and it's always exciting, truly.
Well, Grey's comes back next Thursday at 8 p.m., followed by Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeehaw!
Thank you so much for being here, Jessica. We loved having you.